The opening passage to the section of Magid begins with the Aramaic formula, Lachma, Anya, this is the bread of poverty that our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt, and an invitation for anyone to come in and to eat. And this passage has caused a lot of commentary in its wake, trying to analyze exactly what it means. It's particularly odd because the language called Ditzrech, Yesef, Yivsach, anyone who requires, come in and literally make Pesach with us, is particularly odd in the light of the fact that the Korban Pesach was not allowed to be eaten by anyone for whom it was not expressly slaughtered on their behalf. You couldn't just invite people, on your way home from shul the night of Pesach to come and join you for the Korban Pesach. They had to be part of the group, the Chabura, from the time that the Korban Pesach was offered. So the Netziv explains to try to clarify what the point of this whole really preamble to the Haggadah is all about, is that this is an innovation of the Jews following the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, as they were grappling with the issue of how to celebrate Pesach without the Korban Pesach. And he points out that really that there are two identities to matzah on Pesach. There's one mitzvah to eat matzah in the context of the Korban Pesach, and according to some, literally with the Korban Pesach. And there is a separate mitzvah, which is called lechem oni, literally the bread of poverty, or as the Gemara interprets it, the bread of speaking. The word Anya in Hebrew also means to speak or to respond, or to answer. And that is an independent mitzvah. Today, when we don't have the Korban Pesach, right, we're not obligated in the matzah, which comes together with the Korban Pesach, but there is a separate obligation to eat matzah, which is called lechem oni. And the Netziv suggests that this paragraph, this really introduction to the Seder, highlights the uniqueness of the fact that we are celebrating a Seder which is focused on matzah rather than focused on the Korban Pesach. Right? The Torah's description of Pesach is that the main mitzvah of the evening and the highlight of the evening is eating from the Korban Pesach, right? Which really celebrates the redemption fully. Tonight, though, we don't have a Korban Pesach. Instead, we have matzah. We have lechem oni, which he says actually points us back and goes through a whole halachic analysis of how this works, to the model of the Pesach before the Jews were freed. Using this approach really suggests what we are declaring at the beginning of the Seder. We are pointing out that while on the one hand, we are celebrating Pesach, right, at the same time, our Pesach is incomplete. Right? We have Lachma, Anya, we have bread of affliction, that we are on some level, we have 1 foot in Egypt, and that's really actually expressed in the line that we have in the Haggadah itself. This whole passage concludes, right, that this year we are here, next year in Eretz Yisrael, this year we are slaves, next year we are, with God's help, we'll be free people. And that the whole point of this passage is calling attention that we are eating a matzah-based Seder rather than a Korban Pesach-based Seder. And really, in certain ways, really is a declarative tefillah at the beginning of the Haggadah of hoping that this deficiency will be filled in. What's interesting, though, a number of other commentators point out that the flip side of this is that this idea of the bread of affliction really points us to the merits by which the Jews left Egypt. The notion of the bread which is broken in half for me and half perhaps to give to someone else, underscores the mutual support the Jews gave each other in Egypt, and the merit by which they left, they merited to leave. And this really is part of what we are reminding ourselves when we are eating the non-Korban Pesach-based Seder, that we are specifically underscoring the notion of hospitality, of reminding ourselves that we need to share those things that we have with others, and perhaps it's in that merit that we, today, eating the Egyptian-style bread of affliction, can merit, as the passage ends, to be freed and to come eventually to the land of Israel.